Welcome to Season 7 of the Retail Tea Break podcast. My name is Melissa Moore, the Retail Advisor and Rethink Retail Top Retail Expert for 2024. Each week, I'll be joined by industry experts, retailers and brands to dispel the myths, share knowledge, and give you an insight into the retail industry. Listen back to previous episodes on your favourite podcast platform or, of course, on YouTube. And while you're there, please do subscribe to the podcast so that you get to listen first every single week. So in the meantime, grab that cup of tea, sit back and listen in to Season 7 of the Retail Tea Break podcast. So today I'm joined by a dynamic entrepreneur and visionary founder who set new standards in the floral industry, promoting sustainable living through beautiful, eco-friendly products. Her commitment to sustainability and innovation continues to inspire and set new benchmarks, making her a celebrated figure in both floral design and entrepreneurship. Beyond her professional achievements, she's an accomplished interior designer. Her own home has been featured in numerous publications in Ireland and the UK, including the Sunday Times, House and Home magazine, and Life magazine. Vivian Wong-McKendry, founder of One More Thing, welcome to the Retail Tea Break podcast.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me.
I'm really delighted because I know you're incredibly busy at the moment. We're in the run up to Christmas. It's definitely peak gifting season. Delighted that you could take a bit of time out to come on the podcast today. But look, before we get into it then, in the time that it takes to boil a kettle, which I'm told is about 2 minutes, tell us a little bit more about you and the business.
Okay, so my name is Vivian Wong-McKendry. I'm the founder of One More Thing. So One More Thing is a brand that I founded during COVID. I have this idea during COVID lockdown. We have so much time at home and I start decorating my house and I realize, I want something that is unique for my house. For example, some different type of vases, some different type of candles. And then I started sourcing them. And I realized if I'm able to find these pieces that I like, maybe someone out there might like the same. So I learned coding back then. So I started writing the codes for the website and just take some photos and put up online and see what happened. But when I was taking photos of the products that I was about to sell, I realized I need some props. And the props were flowers. And I start buying fresh flowers for every photo shoot. And I realized that's such a waste. Every time I spend the money buying flowers and then I throw them away or have them for another few days and that's it. Then I think about, okay, what can I do in that particular scenario? And I remember flower preservation in Asia has been around for decades. Then I start sourcing and research and understand what if I can get something that are real flowers and foliage, but they can last for a really long time. Then the more I dig into it, the more I found out that something that look and feel like fresh flower actually exists and they're not artificial and they're not plastic. So I started sourcing and getting them in and start drying some of them myself as well. And then very quickly, I put together a few bouquets, put them all online and put them on Instagram and it became a massive hit. And that's how the story began. And I'm very, very delighted that almost 4 years on now. 3.5 years, 4 years soon. We have been stocked in a lot of different famous stockists, retailers, and we have collaborated with numerous luxury brands. And so the journey continues, and we're now in Kildare Village doing our Christmas pop-up.
Wow, what a journey, but what an exciting one. Because again, you've gone with your gut feeling here. And I definitely think that's why the average consumer really loves what you do, because as you said, it suits them, it fills a need for them. But do you think your previous roles then, because again, you're not a retailer, you haven't come from that retail background, you've had a lot of varied experience in your career. Do you
Yes.
think that's kind of helped you build the business that you have now?
Yes, definitely. Like my experience when I was back in Hong Kong. So I moved to Ireland about 8 years ago. Before that, I lived in Hong Kong all my life, and my experience spanned across various industry. So I was financial PR, doing events and hosting marketing campaign for stock, basically listed companies back then in Hong Kong. And I was also project manager for hospitality design. So we design hotels, spas, and also markets around all those projects for opening. So it's heavily event based as well. And then I also move on in the entertainment side. Again, involve a lot of creative. We do a lot of parties or huge concerts on a cruise ship. And also we do a lot of events on the ground for different like luxury brands. So there are a lot of events based, marketing based, and also creative based aspect in across all the careers I was in. So I use all the creative stuff. My dad actually was an interior designer. I probably got a lot of influence from him as well. So I'm always in this creative environment, which prompt me to realize actually I can use all these experience I had and also my interest in designs in general, not just flowers, but interior. All this, I try to merge them together with my technical background in coding as well. So I just merge everything I have learned in the past 40 years and then set up my business finally. And it was my dream. I always wanted to have my own business. And I'm very, very happy that I finally got that started. And then, yeah, it's been 4 years.
Wow, what a journey. What an incredible kind of CV in that respect. But I can hear even your passion coming through how you talk about it. This creativity, like, really seems to be in everything that you do. And you obviously have an eye for product, you have an eye and a feel, as you said, for events and display. And you can definitely feel that in your passion, which is wonderful. And with that, I suppose you as a consumer yourself, because as you said, you
Mhm.
saw this gap in the market when you created your hero product, the
Yes.
famous Everblooms Preserved Flowers.
Yes.
Did you ever genuinely believe, though, that it would become so successful?
I didn't expect when I started. I don't want to set a very high hope because this is an almost like an experiment project during lockdown. I just want to try it out. And at that time, I still had a day job when I started. So it's like almost like a plan B. So I didn't expect anything, but I pour my whole heart to make sure this is up to the standard that I would do if it's also a full time job. So I really make sure all the photography, all the lighting, all the product design, all the even down to the ribbon, how we wrap it has to be perfect. The design of the cards, everything. And I think that's basically set the positioning of our brand at the very, very beginning is we are doing a very high quality product, a premium brand that which set us aside from maybe other peer.
And you can see it, though, as you said, all those tiny little elements, the thought that's gone into
Yeah.
everything. Talking to you and knowing the product, nothing is a mistake. Nothing is just put there. It's all perfectly executed. But with that, then this idea, and again, it seems to have meant something to you. There's a real emotional connection to your product.
Mm,
This no wastage idea, kind of coming back to the sustainability aspect. We know sustainability is becoming more prevalent now to a lot of consumers, but
yes.
you've built this brand around that.
Yes. I guess like we all like to consume. We like to like all like beautiful stuff, but we can't continue to just keep buying and buying and buying all the fast fashion, or a lot of different consumables that we just keep on buying. It's not sustainable in general. And every little step in our life that we can contribute to reduce a little bit of waste, reduce a little bit of like to control a little bit of our own habit helps. I'm not trying to promote that, oh, we are like the hero in this field, but we are trying to do is to promote something that is naturally die probably within weeks or 1 or 2 weeks. But if we are able to prolong the life of that product that is naturally die within weeks to maybe up to 2 years, then it really helps to reduce the consumption while we can still admire the nature, but without spending every week or without have to throw away. You know, like flowers, fresh flowers, there's a lot of energy, a lot of water putting in to grow them and then for an enjoyment of days. And I think there is a balance that we can still consume fresh flowers, but what if we always have something that is already there that we can enjoy and they're natural?
And they're so beautiful. And I'd say to listeners, if you haven't seen these, definitely go on the website. I'll share the links because they're just stunning. I think you get joy from flowers. And I'm sure you know this,
Mm,
selling them and utilizing them in events over the years. There's such joy in fresh flowers, but actually that same joy comes across when you look at these everblooms, these preserved flowers. But it's
mm,
interesting that you say, it's a throwaway money. And I've never really thought about flowers like that. Yes, they bring us joy, but it is only for a few days, much like fast fast fashion, but
Yes.
also the preservation. We preserve food. Our ancestors have been preserving food throughout the year, through the cold periods and things. It's lovely then to hear that flowers, you've had this way of preserving flowers that we can utilize them for the long-term benefit as
Exactly.
well.
Yes, indeed. Like we all enjoy beautiful things, but if there are ways to prolong the time that we can enjoy them, why not?
Oh, I love that. So flowers, obviously the main range, but you've added to that range recently. And I love the fact you were telling me about this candle concept idea.
Yeah.
Again, it was created to solve a problem you had. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yes, I love burning candle in our house. It's just give that warm ambience when you like sit in the house with a cup of tea. But you can't keep buying and buying, and then you end up with all this empty candle jars. They're pretty. They're so beautiful that you want to keep, but you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna use it as a makeup brush holder. One is enough. What if I have 10 more? What am I going to do with that? It's a problem that I have myself. And I believe if I have this problem, there might be other people having the same problem. So I keep thinking, what can I do about it? What if I can come up with an idea that make it very easy to reuse the jar and to recreate a candle in seconds? That sounds fantastic. So we have come up with this idea that the wax itself becomes a granular form. It's basically like a bag of sugar, but it's wax. So we pour the whole
Oh,
bag of sugar into the old, let's say your candle jars from like a year ago. We just literally pour in, put the wick that comes with the wax, put it in, you got a candle in seconds. It melts exactly like normal candle. The good thing about that is you can adjust how strong and how less strong of the candle by adding different of your choice, like different type of fragrance oil, perfume oil, essential oil, whatever you have at home already. Most people do. By adding a few drops around it, then you create that scented candle, and you have the control of how strong or how less strong the candle should be. So I think it's been very, very well received, and it's make it so easy for everybody to just reuse the jar. Again, solving a problem that we all have.
I love this idea because, again, it's very bespoke and curated to the person, as you said, who's
Mm.
creating the candle in that vessel that they've loved. Maybe that's been a gift to them to kind of enjoy that longevity again, like the flowers. It really feels like the brand and everything you're creating is about this long-term joy, not just that quick fix, but actually whether it's gifting yourself or
Yeah.
whether it's gifting someone else, especially at this time of year, these are beautiful products that will last.
Thank you. Yeah, the concept of everything we do is to try to solve a problem instead of creating more waste. For example, the candle product, the wax it's a formula that we work around to make it so granular that it's easy to refill. But we have also created a very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing candle jar with the cover, so that you can keep reusing that to get you started. If you don't have any like old candle jar lying around, then that would be your only candle jar you need. You don't need to buy 10 more. That's the only one you need, and you can keep reusing it.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I can see people flocking to Kildare Village now over the next few weeks to get their hands on some of these. But other than that, then, I mean, you're so busy. You've recently collaborated with Galia to create Everbloom floral art installations at their pop-up in Selfridges in London. How exciting. What was that experience like?
It was surreal when we got in touch with Gawali. So Gawali is a perfume brand based in Saudi Arabia, and the mother company of the brand actually owns a lot of luxury brands. And when they contact us, I was like, "Is this real?" And then the more we talk about the project, the more we look into it, we start designing around the floral art that they have the space for, and it just clicked right away. Like the team is so invested into bringing this because it's their first pop-up in Selfridges, London. And it also our first involvement with Selfridges as well. Their standards is really, really high, and which work very well because I'm very, very picky about all the details as well, which also make the end result look amazing. Now it's actually in Selfridges. They flew us to the factory who created the pop-up booth. It's all with natural stone and marble and everything. It's so beautifully done. And they flew us to Birmingham to the factory to basically do it on site. at the factory, put all the floral art ready to go. And they see the value. They know that what we do is very different and they appreciate our design aspect as well. So it's not just the material that we're using, but it's also our aesthetic design that basically attract their attention. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience and it has been very well received and the clients is really happy.
And that's what we want, a happy client. But how exciting. I'd say not your last foray now into Selfridges over the next few years. We'll certainly have to watch this space. But what a wonderful collaboration. And I suppose alongside that, as you've said, you're back in Kildare Village, run up to Christmas. So self-gifting, as we like to say, and gifting for others. But you've become pros at opening pop-ups. I know this is not your first, this is not your first pop-up. You've been in there now for the last few years. Any advice or I suppose learnings from your journey into pop-up retail over the last few years?
It is actually our fourth pop-up in Kildare Village in the past 18 months. And we're delighted to be back for the Christmas season. And it's a season that I have been working a long time along with Kildare Village to plan for this pop-up. And it has been very, very well received so far. It's been 2 weeks on and we will be there until January. So any Christmas gift that you want something to, if you want to support a local business, something different, something sustainable, definitely visit us at Kildare Village. But in terms of opening pop-up, my advice, or I'll share a little bit of my experience, is sometimes for a small brand to start up, it's hard to commit to a long-term lease. So pop-up is the way to go to get the idea. And it's really important that as a business owner to be on the ground to talk to the customer, because that's the only way you understand how the consumer behavior is. And for us opening pop-up, it's a huge investment for a small brand. But I think sometimes we just have to take that risk and try it out. And always think it as a learning curve, regardless of what the result. Financial results is important, but I think the learning experience is also as important because you're building a brand not for short term. It's a long-term plan, and every step you do, whether you gain some profit or not, it's a learning experience and it helps to pave the way for the next pop-up or for the next move for growing the brand. So I think be a risk taker. I think it is important, but a calculated risk, obviously, and just do it. And sometimes there's no right time to do something. You just have to step out of your comfort zone and decide, okay, I'm going to make this work and believe in yourself.
Oh, so inspiring. It really is. And no wonder you're back, as you said, time and time again in Kildare Village, because it's working. The layout, we obviously know the product is amazing, but your whole kind of aesthetic in the village is just phenomenal in the stores you've been in. But also most importantly, and you've mentioned this a few times, this connection with the customer. You're obviously, you see yourself as a consumer in that respect as you're planning these new products, but you're very definitely listening to them. How important is it to you to be able to talk to them, to meet them face to face in the pop-ups? Because obviously you're there today, which is lovely. We're recording this. It's a mad busy day in the run up to Christmas. But obviously, like the customers are literally behind the door behind you. How important is that for you?
It is extremely important because you are creating a product. Obviously, I love the product, but sometimes you have to make some fine adjustment based on the customer's want. Because if you just focus on what you want and forget about what the customer wants, then it might not work in certain market. And that's why we have to listen. The more you listen, the more you talk to the customer, the more you gather all the data and help you to, even for some smaller stuff. For example, I give you an example. Some customer come in, they want to buy the flowers. And then so I really want to buy this bouquet, but I don't have a vase at home. Or if they buy a bouquet, they don't know how to put in the vase. Like all these things we didn't think about. And then we were like, okay, maybe we should ask them to bring in their own vase so that they can pick the flowers and we help them to arrange into it. So it's an extra step for us to do the sale, but it helps them and they will go home very happy. So sometimes we just have to talk to everybody and see what problem they have and how we can solve their problem. And everybody, most customer, they walk in with a big smile, they go out with a big bouquet with a bigger smile. So I think that's very, very important. It's also to for me to see the customer very happy and it really motivates me to keep going. And that's why I'm on the floor every single day, 7 days a week. And from opening till closing, I'm here.
Oh, I do love that. But actually, it's really interesting and it's quite rare nowadays in retail for people to want to put an extra step in. Normally, we're trying to, make it more efficient, take the steps out, kind of make customers kind of jump from point to point on the customer journey. But you enticing people to bring the vase, we say, so they're really happy with the display, that you've helped them create that magic is
Yeah.
so interesting because again, a happy customer, as we know, is a loyal customer. Loyal customers, they come back more often, they spend more, and they tell their friends. So I think it's so lovely that you're
Yeah.
really embracing that.
Definitely. Like a lot of customers, they even take photos of their house and show me, this is my kitchen. What do you think? And you actually build a relationship with them because they show you something that is very personal to them and they want you to create something and be part of their house. I think it's an amazing journey. And I got the chance to talk to a lot of customer in that way. And it really like I'm very, very happy to just be able to see, oh, they have this space and then they put the flowers, they go home, they put it there and take a photo and send it to me. And I was like, this is absolutely amazing. It makes my day.
Oh, you're definitely part of their journey, which is wonderful. So, look, we know you're obviously in Kildare Village, as you said, until January, which is super exciting for gifting season. But I
Yeah.
suppose my final question then, because I'm very aware, I want to let you back into that shop to kind of meet with more customers today. What
Yeah.
else is coming up for you now over the next 6 months?
So the next 6 months, obviously, we have now it's November. We are going to be flat out for Christmas, but we also have started exporting. So we're exporting our floral design service now in Brussels. So we have our first customers in Brussels. A luxury five-star hotel has used our flowers for their display because they see the value of changing it seasonally rather than changing it weekly, but they still get the that ties in with their interior because it's a custom service. And also they will get a seasonal change. And we see a lot of hotel reaching out both locally in Ireland and also overseas that they want to do something with us to create something. So it's not just a flower supplier, but it's also a design service that we're providing. And this is very exciting because we are literally started exporting in October to Brussels, and there are more clients in Brussels to come. And this is just the first step. So we're very, very excited to focus on the hospitality side, like the B2B side of things. But in retail, obviously, coming up, there will be Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and we're very, very excited to work with potentially a few different retailer coming up. But I can't tell you now. But we're very excited for all the plans that's going to come in 2025.
Oh, amazing. It sounds like it's going to be an incredible 2025 for both you and the brand. I think we might have to have you back on in future and we'll see what those plans are like because I've no doubt they're going to be incredible. But look, if you've enjoyed today's podcast episode, please do like and share it. Remember, you can listen back to past Retail Tea Break episodes on your favorite podcast platform or, of course, over on YouTube. Connect with myself and Vivian. Now, mind that she's going to be incredibly busy in Kildare Village over the next few weeks. So your best bet, pop into that pop up in Kildare Village until January. Obviously, I'll pop the website link in the notes and the show notes as well. So do visit the website for one more thing. And remember, you can find those show notes on the retailadvisor.ie. Vivian, you are so busy. I'm so pleased that you've been able to pop on today and join us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.